Hey, Anthropomorphic Nerd here, back again, and today I'm going to be not really a blind reaction. Today I'm doing something really rare that I get the rare occasion of doing because I had this one subscriber who came towards me. His or her name was Quill Scroll, and they said that they wanted me to do like this I don't know, it's obvious because it's hard to know like what it really is. It's more of, they made a couple stories about the My Little Pony universe and about their fan fiction based. That's what they are, and they wanted me to read it and like do a reaction to what they wrote. So first of all, don't expect too much out of this because I'm really just reading the story, and I'm going to give my opinion on it and as best as I can, because I'm more of a visual type guy. I'm not the best like book reader. Well, I am decently good, but I'm not like how you'd expect me, because I'm a blind reactor. I'm not really. I watch videos on YouTube and I react to that. I don't really do readings or fan fiction, but this is pretty neat. It's over 9,000 words, almost at 10,000, so I don't really know how long it's going to be, but just don't expect anything like Scribbler production. This is another My Little Pony channel that reads fan fiction that I really enjoy or do voiceovers of. So it's basically, this is just one big voiceover of me reading one of the stories, and I thought one of the stories, which would have been the one that I liked the most, or just wanted to start off with, was Here I Am, which is a story based around Cozy Glow. She's one of my favorite characters, and Here I Am is kind of like her story wrote on Scroll's opinion of what it was like. It's got it's My Little Pony film, violence, dark, adventure, sad, Cozy Glow. Maybe it'll add or give her some type of backstory that's relatable and, well, probably not relatable, but like actually a good backstory, because we never really got a story of Cozy Glow. Like, we don't know if she was an orphan or if she was someone that grew up in a really bad neighborhood, and so she had to do what she had to do, which was manipulate people in order to get what she wants or in order to survive. We don't really know that because we never really gave her the benefit of the doubt in that situation. She just kind of like decided, I'm just gonna take all the magic away from Equestria to become the all-powerful ruler, which probably wouldn't have worked because she didn't really think it that far through, especially since magic is kind of the thing that Equestria thrives on, and without it, it would just be destroyed. So Here I Am. It's basically like if Cozy Glow were to write a memoir about herself in Tartarus, because they probably get paper and pens down there, because the mail service obviously delivers there. And it's kind of Celestia's fault, but you know what? Never mind any of that, because we're gonna get started with Here I Am. Thank you, Quill Scroll, for recommending this to me. Even though it was a story, it was a FIM fiction and FIM fiction. Yeah, and it would be interesting to read. You just have to sit back, listen to my soothing voice. Don't expect anything. I might actually mess up a couple words, but don't expect too much. And we will read Here I Am. I might even put some like music in the background to like give it that eerie effect, because it's supposed to be dark and sad. But then there might be some moments where it's not, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta fix it. But yeah, let's just get into this. And I set up the screen the best I could to like make sure we can read along. All right, so let's start. Here I am, just a lonely filly trapped in stone forever. How did it come to this? I was just trying to follow Headmare Twilight's instructions about friendship. You know what? Shouldn't I just read it in my Cozy Glow voice? Well, that is to say, her real instructions, the hidden one beneath all that dogma and rhetoric about friendship is this, and friendship is that, blah, blah, blah. She said that in the episode. You and I both know the truth. Twilight, the Princess of Friendship, Your Majesty. We both know that friendship is power, and whomever has more power gets to rule the land. Why do you think Princess Celestia told you to free Discord? It's because she wanted to use his power to her benefit. That is actually accurate. And she did. Amazingly, you ponies managed to tame the almighty god of chaos, and you did it by corrupting his mind with false promises and empty dreams. Now he lives as a mere shadow of his former self, and you did this to him. You. Huh. Nah, it's all because he just wants that sweet plot from Fluttershy, you know? You know what I mean? Yeah, we all figured that out. Alright. But when some pony of less value comes around, like say a pink-headed filly with curly blue mane, you condemn her to stone and leave her there. Oh, no, I did this wrong. This is her in stone after season 9. This isn't actually her in Tartarus after season 8. My bad. That was my bad. And leave her there. She isn't useful enough to consider freeing again, but at least I have the satisfaction of knowing that you also won't release me because you're afraid of me, and you have every right to be. If I ever get out of here, you're going to think that Tartarus is a pleasant vacation compared to what I'm going to do to you. Lord Tyrek let me know. He tipped me off to all your nasty tricks. He let me know what all of those friendship lessons were really all about. You were just repeating the same tactics that Starlight Glimmer used in her village. Only this time, your strategy was more subtle. You disguised her lessons to seem like it was for the benefit of all, but in truth, your aim was to enslave everyone in a prison for the mind and the heart. If I'm wrong, then why are the main 6 the only ones benefiting from their lessons? Why is Princess Twilight ending up with all the power, while every pony is left to wallow in their miserable fate? It's not enough for her to settle with the mere title of being princess. She wants to trick every pony into being loyal and submissive to her. Okay, I never thought about that, but that's actually kind of true. But it's not in the point where Twilight's trying to do the bad thing. It's like kind of the decision where it's like the lesser of two evils. Like if everybody follows one way of life, then the whole world will be peaceful, and you'll have world peace, no war or anything, you know. But it also takes away the, like, what's the word? Character of people, like their own specific opinions and the way they want to live in general. Okay. I was just following her true example, and look where that got me! Imprisoned in stone for all eternity. An object of ridicule every pony can point to and laugh at. She's probably putting the statue out on public display for all to see in order to cow every pony else about her mighty power. This scare tactic is meant to be a firm reminder to every pony else not to dare to cross her again. Yeah, I kind of found it was pretty fucked up that she actually did that. She put the statue of them on display instead of keeping it in like the garden where no one could see. Or just keeping it in like a place where no one could see. Having people constantly go around and look at it is kind of harsh. I mean, it just is. I'm only guessing though, because I'm not sure. I can neither see nor hear anything outside of this stone statue, and I can barely feel anything. Sometimes I do feel dim rumblings or slight amounts of pressure or heat on the surface of the statue, but that's just about it. Which leaves me alone in this dark void of existence. I can't even have the solace of hearing the thoughts of my fellow stone mates, Chrysalis and Tyrek. They're undoubtedly sharing in this awful fate. I'm just a filly. Won't some pony please take pity on me? But I'm sure no pony will. Any pony who probably ever considers such a thing is likely told that they will share our fate if they dare try to rescue us. How is it even possible when their slave Discord can just snap us back into stone again? Very likely he'd be able to sense if we got freed anyway. Uncle Tyrek told me that Discord could sense disturbances in magical energy. No doubt he would layer a spell over our stone prison to alert him, or others, if we ever get free. That's proof positive that they don't have any true pity in their hidden black hearts. Yes. Okay, I will say this, the main reason I read this was because I wanted to give more background to my original character that I made, who's Desolate Fever. And his whole character basis is based off of freeing the ponies in stone. And when he does that, they like were to join forces and destroy Equestria, even if it meant, you know, killing many people, which I don't really care about that. I don't really care. You already seen my opinions on Celestia, but I'm not gonna bring that up because it's a different episode. It's what I would have done in their place. Everything in life has a cost. I gambled for ultimate power using the example of my predecessors, and I lost. There was a time when I looked up to them all, the main six, the elements of harmony. After all, if it weren't for their meddling, I'd still be a slave in Klugetown, thanks to their efforts in taking down the Storm King. Klugetown got freed from his influence as well, and as a result, I ended up getting free. Oh, that's a pretty good backstory. I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty good backstory. Klugetown, if you don't know, that's the town that the main six in the movie went to that's where they met Capper, and they went to that town where they almost got sold into slavery. So that's a good way to bring that back into play. Scroll, they did a really good job at that, especially since that'd be a decent backstory to actually give her in the show. Like, she was being sold into slavery, but since the Storm King was defeated, she idolized the main six for saving her ass, and that's pretty sweet. I'm not gonna lie. Alright, where was I? Thanks to their efforts and... No, wait, I think I already read that. Yeah. For a while there, it was my benchmark to try to rise and surpass. I needed to know what my new heroes, looked like so I could meet them in person. When I did, I vowed to find out how they got so popular, then beat them all at their own game. Okay, that's a twisted way of getting what you want, but you know what? That's what Coastal is. Ponyville was so different from the city I grew up in. For one thing, there was a much greater percentage of ponies in the population. But what else should I expect from a name like that? Klugetown, in contrast, was a dirty slum, thought through and through, where everything was bought and sold. Everything and everyone had a price, and only the strong or clever go to thrive there. I didn't have much going for me, but I am cute and I do have my wits. Since those two things were my main assets, I used them to the best of my ability. Where I grew up, everyone sought to take advantage of each other. That could include legitimate businesses, but just as easily include mugging, brutal beating. Everyone also fought for their own slice of the pie. It was like swimming in an ocean of fire, and only a tiny island a sanctuary from the blazing inferno. The only way to avoid being a victim was to become a better betrayer than everyone else. Oh, nice use of everyone, said Every Pony. No pony picked me up and twirled me in the air like the little fillies in Colton Ponyville. No pony gave me a string to a kite or a cone of ice cream and said, "Here you go, Cozy Glow. Here's a nice little treat for you. All I ask from you in return is to see your smile." As I watched the other fillies and colts play in the park for a moment, I experienced a brief but intense pang of loss. Those ponies grew up in warm beds and comfortable, dare I say, cozy homes. They blew bubbles at each other, they tackled and played with one another, they broke into spontaneous song as the drop of a hat. That somehow matched choreography without any need to practice. That's pretty funny because, you know, that's just what they did in Ponyville. It's really weird. To me it is, but, you know, it's normal. I can see how this is kind of dark and really sad because, you know, Cozy Glow is definitely a sad character. If you look deep, if you look deep down. But then I hardened my heart by reminding myself that their oblivious happiness came at its own cost. They might not have grown up in iron cages or with shock collars on their necks, but unlike my experience, these ponies didn't even know they were slaves. Sure, they were free to roam about and play physically, but it came at a cost of their minds and souls being enslaved. They had to obey the rules of the dogma of the princess of Equestria, or else face the consequences, and unlike me, they didn't even know what they gave up. Think about that. They kind of are slaves, if you think about it. Because they live in this world so far away from real life that it's like they live in a fake society, basically, which is no way else realistic. So anywhere outside of Equestria doesn't act that way. They act like normal people, ponies and creatures of whatever. So that's real. So they are slaves to their ignorance, basically. Maybe ignorance is bliss. Likewise, maybe that is why ponies like me, the intelligent and the educated, are meant to suffer. I was pretty sure that the main six only taught their lessons in order to securely oppress other creatures' minds and hearts. Kinda, yeah. That's why they didn't limit themselves to only ponies this time. They wanted all creatures to submit to their rule. After what they saw in other lands, like where I grew up, they realized that they needed a new system of oppression, or they might become oppressed themselves. But unlike the Storm King event strategy, the pony tactics were far more devious and subtle. That's why I once respected them so much. But just in case they really meant what they said, I gave them a test. It was also meant to be a diversion, yeah. Like I said, division. Diversion, sorry. Which worked. It was I who gave the stolen copy of Twilight's friendship lessons to Flim and Flam. Ha! They knew it. I've watched many reactions where it's like, oh, she did do that because she who else would have? How did they get a copy? Because Cozy Glow gave them one, and they didn't ask questions because they didn't care. They're Flim and Flam. I knew that they were grifters and they'd seek any advantage they could get. That is true. If they didn't sing so much, I could have sworn they grew up in Town like me. Yeah, they are actually quite weird for, like, ponies in Equestria. Anyway, I knew their type well. I figured they would try to build a competing school. I even subtly planned that idea in their heads, and they took the bait. Not only did they fall for it, but so did Twilight. The only thing I didn't anticipate was Rarity also going with Twilight, but I figured Twilight would recruit at least one of her loyal minions. Yeah, I also don't really fully understand that episode, like how it ended. Just because, what? Star Swirl, the bearded, just because he said so, they, like, they could have just said no. He could have just said no. Like, he walked in at the last minute and he was like, you better shut down this school or else. They could have just been like, or else what? And he wouldn't have done anything because, I mean, what would he have done? He would have been charged for assault on some people. I mean, the ending of the episode was kind of convoluted, but you never know. Alright, where the hell was I? Alright, now minions. Okay. With Headmare Twilight distracted, I was able to sneak into the forbidden section of her library and pilfer some important books for a ritual I'd later need. I also managed to send another letter to Tyrek to report my building progress, but I also monitored Twilight's response to the Flim Flam brothers' threat of Friendship University. I knew that if the main six really meant all they said about friendship, then they would have respected Friendship University and left them alone. Ha! That's actually kind of a good point. If they were serious about their lessons, they would have pitied those deceived in Friendship U, and rather than a hostile takeover or exposure, what the main six should have done was leave and lead by a friendship example here. Twilight should have respected Star Swirl's right to attend Friendship U and not get jealous of him attending competing school, because according to their own lessons, a true friend respects the rights of others to make a mistake, but otherwise lead by non-intrusive examples. Okay, that's 100% true. It's also like a trope in the My Little Pony universe where Twilight learns all of these lessons, but constantly has to relearn them because she just decides, like, fuck it, I don't care anymore about these lessons. I don't really care that much. Like, I don't care about these lessons, I mean. Well, I can just, I'm Twilight, you know? I'm Twilight, you know? I can do whatever I want. Because I'm the Princess of Friendship, so my word is law, basically. If they had done that, I would have halted all of my plans to drain all kinds of magic from the world, because under those circumstances, I would have known that they really meant every word they said, and it wasn't all just a power play. But no! No! That's not what they did. Instead, they destroyed a competitor because it was a threat to their power, even if they were, you know, cheating them. Even though it was a scam, I mean, how do you think Cozy Glow didn't know that? She really didn't. At the time, I mean, she shouldn't have. That's not what they did. Instead, they destroyed a competitor because it was a threat to their power. They didn't want another manipulating liar like themselves to win over the love and devotion of gullible ponies, and by Celestia, most of my species are really dumb. And if that weren't the case, it wouldn't have been so easy or quick to turn all the pony tribes against each other. But that is what happens in a whole society conditioned like a cult. They're so unaccustomed to really thinking for themselves that they buy anything that is told to them. That's what happens to ponies that are brainless sheep. I simply tried to take advantage of a situation some pony else set up a long time ago, and unlike other equestrians, because I didn't grow up in Equestria, I wasn't as naive as my fellow ponies. Being in a stone prison like I am, but allowing my mind to continue, I'm not left with many options to do. I can't move, I can't speak, I can't eat, I can't sleep, I can't see, I can't hear. No pony can keep me company. I'm all alone. It's like being in purgatory, basically. About all I can do is think. I try to keep my mind occupied just so that I won't lose that skill as well. Lately, I feel like that is being threatened. Without any external stimulation, I'm beginning to forget what sight or sound is like, or what it felt like to fly with the wind beneath my wings. I'm a Pegasus. We're not meant to be caged like this. But that's all I was. That's all I ever was. Very few had even shown me that there might be some better way. But there was one I can think of. If I struggle very hard, maybe I can force my mind to recall him. I might as well try. Living in my memories is just about my only reprieve from this awful fate. Him. Okay, that's probably... I would like to believe it is myself. It is not. It is someone. How far did I make it? Damn, I didn't make it anywhere. It's been 22 minutes. I didn't make it anywhere. Hold on a second. I'm just gonna scroll all the way down the page to see. Okay, wait, hold up. Okay. The story ends right about, halfway, and I made it a quarter of the way. Yeah, I made it here. So, the story heads for the whole page. I don't know if I should just end the video here. Yeah, yeah, I'll just cut this into parts. So this will be, part one. This will be part one. I don't know how many parts there are for, like, each 7 chapters, but, you know, I have to react to everything in the said video because that's just how it works. And so I'm not gonna read any more for now. Or I am, and I'm just gonna add it in later. But I'll take a little break, and this is mainly for Scroll Quill, not really for anybody else. But if you liked listening to this, consider liking, subscribing. I may do more of these, but I probably won't unless Scroll offers or wants me to, and then I will read more if they aren't annoyed by my voice or my Cozy Glow impression, which is pretty bad, but you know, it's hard to do for a guy. So that being said, I'm gonna take a little break and then I'll be right back after a second. All right, bye for now. Okay, I'm back now. Sorry if I'm not showing really a lot of emotion during this, because I've never really had a book make me cry before. So it's kind of understandable. Also, I found a way to fix my whole hold on, let me shorten down my chair a little to fix my whole to fix my, you know, throw in my voice while I'm reading. It's this. It's water, because, you know, This is probably what those voice actors, anybody who does readings probably will do. Because I realize now that I woke up this morning planning to do this, and I didn't drink anything. I did eat pancakes though, but that didn't really help. You're gonna watch me take a huge drink, and then we're gonna get back into reading. Oh, oops. Alright, my water bottle fell on my keyboard. Let me check something. Okay. Are we still good? Okay, we're still good. Alright. So. Now, something I figured out in my little break, was that first, chapter part, I'm pretty sure that was the biggest part of the entire, of the entire story. So all these other parts should be much shorter, if not much, then less, or just have like less words or less paragraphs in it. So I might just not react as much to what I'm seeing, but unless I feel maybe like every couple paragraphs I'll do something, I'll say something. Now that I am rejuvenated, I can now begin reading again. All right, and I'll just do a discussion at the end of everything I read, just as like my closing. All right. So, growing up as a slave in Klooch Town, I didn't have any precious toys or possessions in my name unless I stole them. Those were among the very few of my sacred treasures, and every day that I lived in that dusty town was another chance to lose what meager possessions I had. I almost lost one of them one fateful day. I poked at the sand and drew some doodles to help occupy my mind. Some schemes were filtered in the back of my mind, but I mostly tried to innocently play at that moment. I am a filly after all. These rosy, freckled cheeks of mine are impinchable for nothing. But when a shadow loomed over me, I reflectively shuddered. I learned to be on my guard when approached by any creature, because usually they try to hurt me or take something away from me. This moment was no exception. Just from my breathing alone, I knew my master was upset with me. I cringed and part of me cried deep down, and I barely turned my head around to look at Verko behind and above me. His pudgy mole-like body and tall black hat blocked out the blazing sun. If I weren't for the pain I figured I was about to receive, I would have been grateful that he offered me some shade from the blazing heat as it stood. However, there was a wicked gleam in his goggles. His mouth hung open, revealing his few cracked teeth with spews of noxious aroma. I never liked Verko. I didn't even... Virgo, his name is Virgo, but I didn't know there's a K in it. I don't know if you looked that up to figure that out. But yeah, he was the one that Capra was going to sell the main 6 to settle his debt. Just kind of fucked up, but... slavery is magic. Whatever. That's truly all. But yeah. Golly, master, did I do something wrong? I asked as innocently and as adorably as I could, which is nothing like how I just said it. For that was one of the few defenses I had against him. If not, I hope I can... Silence, you filthy urchin! My master yelled at me. For I don't do a good Virgo impression, so I'm not going to even try. Before striking me hard with the back of his right claw, hard enough to draw blood on my lip. For that, I cringed tighter and pitifully. I am not faking about the fact that I am afraid of him. You filthy little worm, my master went on to accuse. Scheming, treacherous, little demon filly. Where do you hide it? What do you, master? I fully stuttered while my tiny pink body shook with fright. I'm innocent, I swear. I would never dare to cross you, Silence! Verko roared in anger, again before reaching into his coat pocket, fishing for something. Yeah, I'm not very good at, I don't know, is it protruding my voice? No, it's not that. It's more like getting into multiple characters at a second, and like switching from one to the other. That's usually why you get multiple people to do this. Woodringer, after reaching into his coat pocket fishing for something. It's kind of weird that I'm like making false comedy during the scene that's really fucked up and sad, and it's kind of hard to believe. I will never look at Koziglo the same again, thinking that she was a slave. Now every time Koziglo's on screen for season G5, I'm going to cry. Please don't. Mercy on my poor pitiful slave, I cried out with desperate fraught. It's too late for you, my master continued to roar at me. Thieving little urchin like you must be punished. Finally locating what he saw, my master pulled out his coat pocket, a tiny little box with a red button. What? He lifted it up and gave me a look of sinister glee. I saw my own shivering body reflecting off on his black goggles, including my dirty curly mane and tail. Then he mercilessly pressed the button. I screamed at the top of my lungs as jolting bolts of electricity shot through me due to the magic collar I wore around my neck. Crush him and curse this magic collar. I hate magic and everyone who abuses it. It's not fair. I'm just a Pegasus and a little filly. I can't cast magic. All I can do is fly, or at least that's what I would have said if this thrive cursed magic collar didn't also shock me whenever I stayed a certain distance from him. No matter how many times I suffered this, I could never get used to it. I cried out in pain and in vain of hope of release, even if it had to be death. The thing was, I knew what he was talking about, for I did indeed steal that pony skull. After all, it's the only memento I have left of my mother. Or so Virgil claims, at least. That's probably why you correctly assumed I stole it from him. Holy fuck, that is awful. That skull she was holding, to like cite Shakespeare, at the end of season 8 was her mom's skull. Or at least Virgo said that. Okay, it goes back to my believing Koziglo is an orphan. This is fucking horrible. And sorry if I'm laughing or trying my best to just try and make this not as terrible as it is, because I don't have a very melancholy voice. So, sorry. Sorry, like 1,000 sorries for what I'm doing. I'd do anything to get him to stop. Anything. Wait, I think I skipped a line. Yeah, I think I did. Okay. It's so important to me, I really don't want to lose it, but I can't think straight with this awful pain searing through my flesh. I'd do anything to get him to stop. Anything! My salvation came in another form I did not expect back then. A roar of anger caught both of our attention. Virgo momentarily released his claw finger on the button as he turned to face this. I tried to, but my nerves were so badly damaged that I could barely command my body as it was. The smell of charred flesh drifted into my nostrils. Nevertheless, I know who this was from the sound of the roar alone, but even I'm caught off guard by this fury. The hulking brute actually bashed his way out of his own cage. Apparently, he was ripped the iron chains apart in an effort to get Virgo to desperate fear. Virgo, the pudgy mole, stumbled back in a moment of fright before realizing he still had their remote in his hand. He aimed it at the charging brute, and it did shock him, but it did not stop the brute's onslaught. This time, he charged at Virgo like a raging bull and black-handed her master spinning him. "Shoot him!" Virgo yelled after his men desperately landed. "Shoot him!" All at once, the shadows of many anthropomorphic figures stood up and started shooting poison darts at the raging hulking figure in his fury. The beast managed to resist the poison effects for quite a while as he continued to charge after the panicking and fleeing bull. I couldn't move my body because my head was splayed over the dirt ground. My nostrils sometimes got clogged with dirt. I choked and sneezed when that happened. My eyes watered with pain, both physical and emotional. I struggled to pay attention to what was going on around me, but all I could manage was to swivel my ears in the direction of the action. All this considered, it was over pretty quickly, but the hulking brute lasted much longer than most would. Even with the poison of probably hundreds of darts raining down on his body, he managed to shove aside large objects that our master tried to flee over, under, or thumb through somehow. But eventually the brute finally went down. It was inevitable. We slaves were born to suffer. We cannot win, no matter how hard we try or want it. I struggled to turn my head enough to look at the sky out of the corner of my eyes. Deep down I know my spirit is still free. They can't take the sky away from me. Damn, that's awful. Damn, that's like one of the... That's one of the best backstories I ever heard, better than fucking mine. That is quite the backstory. Just since I feel like that's what that one was all about. The first one was just like her in stone, like in her head, her monologue in her head. Second one was her whole backstory. What's the third one? One good blessing came from all this, which was quite rare for me back in those days. As a result of our master's near-death experience, he got, okay, it's continuation. We got all about my mother's stolen skull and remained safely in hiding. Oh, that wasn't even the whole story. That was just that part about... Fuck, that was just that one memory that she refuses to forget. Damn, Twilight, I hate you even more now. I hate you even more than before. And I'll stick with that statement. I will. Even if this isn't technically canon. Felt of my master's near experience, I forgot about school, hadn't it? I thought it would be difficult to win my master's trust back, but as usual, I'm just too useful. Damn, ever since I got my cutie mark, he knew that I was cunning strategist. I've often given him tactical advice that gave him an edge over competitors, and in exchange, he often gave me extra privileges, not the least of which was information about the going-ons in this dusty city in the desert. All things considered, especially with my sharp wit and adorable body, I usually had my way much more so than almost any other slave under my master's control. I was proud of myself for that. Go me. Go me! Yes! Be happy about something. But I couldn't get the motives of that new hulking brute my master recently acquired from one of his competitors that I helped to take down. I wanted to know why he attacked my master like that. Was it out of lingering loyalty to the brute's last master? Was my master somehow responsible for his capture in the first place, or did the brute lose something else precious to him and it's my master's fault? Okay, one of the things that, definitely one of the very few unforgivable acts that that like me as a character, like if I was any character in a video game, like one of the unforgivable acts of me would be like slavery. That is like one of the worst things that that I could witness in any scenario, and I would instantly want to murder that guy. Even if it was fucking George Washington. Slavery and the pain of it on other people is something that I hate more than anything in the world. Just give me that. So yeah, definitely I would have done much worse than what Tempest did to Virgo. I probably would have ripped his fucking head off. Or sliced it off with my magical abilities. Whatever I can really do. It's kind of a mystery. But yeah, I get so angry over that one concept. It's insane. I believe. Alright, where was I? The master's fault. This attack came rather timely for me, but I couldn't get this out of my head until I knew the answer. In an attempt to bribe him to talk, I stashed away some of the extra bits of scrap food tossed my way. After a week, I figured I've accumulated enough goods, especially considering the fact that the hulking brute was left starving for the whole week. Armed with that which he needed, I knew I had leverage over him. Because of that, I knew I'd have him coiled around my hoof in no time. It probably wouldn't take much. I've learned to carefully measure my distance from my master. I've even studied his routines and now know where he went from moment to moment. The reason that information was pertinent to me was due to the range of the remote and the threat of shocking from my magic collar at a certain distance. I even helped to arrange a distraction for him within a certain distance. Because of that, I knew I had enough range to fly over to the newcomer unobserved. Arriving at my destination, I knocked on his cage a bit to get his attention. From the sound of him, he peeked up. This likely meant I succeeded with my objective, at least some of it. Wait, so is this the him from her backstory? Is a new slave that had just been entered, been brought in? Oh, that's quite the yeah, I don't know. Conundrum. Psst, I whispered in a hiss. Golly, mister, I sure am awful grateful that you came to my rescue like that. Oh, wait, no, maybe it is him. Or maybe it's a different person. I'm not even lying, though. I'm confused. I know it's not much, but I brought a little food for you in case you are hungry. Do you want something to eat? He moaned a bit, and what I could only surmise was confirmation. Good enough for me. The bait was cast and snagged. Now all I had to do was reel him in. Here you go, mister, I said sweetly as I tore little bits of bread and tried to reach them to him. He reached back somewhat. I peered my eyes sharply into the gloom, hoping they would adjust to the darkness quickly. Eventually they did somewhat. It seemed to be some kind of figure that walked upright. He had cloven hooves from the sound of it and large horns above his head. He was quite furry in the neck area, kind of like a lion. I think his color was brown. So he's probably a minotaur. Oh, no wonder he's so strong. Oh, okay, so that makes sense. Okay. I'm so grateful that you helped me out earlier. No, that's not right. I'm so grateful that you helped me out earlier. I chirped happily to him. My name is Cozy Glow, and you are? He moans for a moment, as if he's struggling to remember how to speak. After several repeated attempts, he eventually comes up with some broken speech. Score, he struggled to say. I went slightly. Score? Your name is Score? Well, gee, mister, that's an awfully weird name for a minotaur, huh? Score Pan. He finally mumbles. Oh, fuck! It's fucking Scorpion from G1. I think, yeah, G1. Scorpion, if you don't know what Scorpion is, he's not really a minotaur. It's kind of weird to see him as, you know, a slave at all, because that's just weird. Why would he? He's more of a god. He's basically T-Rex. He's T-Rex's brother. And the only difference between him and T-Rex is that T-Rex was anti-pony, Scorpion was pro-pony. And he actually bonded with the ponies and was like, you know what, these ponies are pretty fucking cool. He was the first ever brony, basically. He was like, the ponies are pretty cool, you gotta stop harshing on them, Scorpion. Not Scorpion, T-Rex. And T-Rex was like, bitch, nah, please, I ain't gonna do that. So, you know, he became the bad guy and Scorpion became the good guy. It's weird that Scorpion is in this, because why would he be captured by Virgo? Why would he be a slave? Because he's more of a god, right? I thought he was, at least. But yeah, that's who Scorpion was, in a nutshell. Scorpion? I asked brightly. Well, golly, that's a cool name, mister. Pleased to meet you, Scorpion. You want to be friends? I asked innocently with a slightly winced hint under my tone. At first, he just nods, then struggles to say, ponies, friends, me. He gestures to himself with a giant clawed hand. Friends with ponies. Oh, I chirped in delight. So you really like ponies in particular, do you? He just nodded. Inwardly, I smiled with devious delight. This was going to be so much easier than I previously thought. He just happened to like the species I was born as. Lucky. Stick with me, Scorpion, I told him brightly. I know my way around here. Contrary to what you saw a week ago, I usually have it good with my master. The beast seemed to tilt his head in confusion, most likely suspicious of the fact that I claimed I usually got along with my oppressor. What I mean is, I know how to survive out here, I clarified. Stick with me and I'll show you the ropes. I'll teach you what you need to do to avoid harm around here. I can even read, I bragged proudly. I'm so smart. It was hard to tell in the gloom of the shadows of his cage, but he seemed to smile at me fondly. I don't know why, but he really seemed to like ponies, and not even in a bad way. Using his mouth, I break apart another piece of the bread tossed into his cage. As long as I kept feeding my new pet, he'll grow all big and strong again, but more importantly, loyal to me. Don't you worry, I cooed to him softly. Little Cozy Glow will take care of everything for you. Someday, you and I will break out of here. After that, I can deliver you to the land that is filled with my kind. Would you like that? He seemed to nod, rather delightedly, in fact. I'm not planning on being here forever, I promised with a sharp undertone. Someday we'll break out. Someday we'll be free. Freedom. Yes. I gazed up at the stars, their twinkly lights reflected in my large, red eyes. In my heart, I'm still free. They can't take the sky away from us. I looked back at him as I fluttered my wings on my back. I promised, and don't you worry. Little old Cozy Glow always keeps her word. Does she? She might. Okay. So I have something to say in this one. Okay, so... okay. Cozy Glow and Scorpion? That's kind of a weird pairing, but kind of an understand. That's kind of a weird pairing, but you know, whatever floats your boat. I feel like Scorpion should be strong enough to rip Virgo in half, but you know, whatever. Whatever works. But you know, that's a really good character concept, even if the story's kind of iffy. That's a good character concept to have those two join forces. But something must happen to him. I don't really know. I've never watched G1, so I never really know what happened to Scorpion at the end of when he tried to stop his brother. I know I'm pretty sure it didn't work. It didn't work. So he like cast him down into the abyss, and then like T-Rex was cast there too with the ponies, and for some reason they didn't get Scorpion out because they didn't want to. I don't really know, or they couldn't. Either way, I'm somewhere in it. So this is basically all backstory, which I forget what the title of this is. So wait, hold on. I'm just gonna scroll back for a second. It's called Here I Am. Okay, yeah, it's called Here I Am. So it's just her story basically on where she is now. I don't know why I say that because I don't really have to. But you know, something I've always loved, like I know I hate slavery and the thought of it, it's terrible, everything about that. But something I've always loved is like when there's something like a show or a movie or something that starts out with slaves, and they always say this like one really uplifting line, which is like, they'll be like what Cozy Glow says, where she looks up at the sky, probably dreaming, sleeping like that. She looks up at the sky and it's like, they can never take the sky away from me, and one day I will be free. That's what I love. I love the freedom, the building up to the freedom, and not only that, but like just the uplifting feeling of the character going through that progressive state from like being a slave to being free. Like the dream basically is what I love the most, and that's definitely one of the things that I care about when it comes to character growth, and especially in a situation as very sad and melancholy and lonely. What the hell is this? Oh, I got a phone call. Yes? Okay. Alright. Alright, I gotta go help my mom bring in groceries, so I'm going to, stop the video now, and I'm gonna take another break. I'm gonna take another drink because, you know, it's hard work. Reading is hard work. If you didn't know that. If you didn't know that, reading is hard work. I don't know how many more of these I have left. I'll count. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, oh god, 6. Okay, I have 6 left. I don't think that's that much because they tend to get shorter the more you go. They tend to get shorter the more that you go down, which I kind of like. That's a really interesting thing that I don't know if Quill Scroll added that on purpose or whatever. Put that on the comments, Quill, because that'd be pretty cool. But yeah, so I gotta go do that, and I'll be right back in a couple of minutes. So bye for now, and give me a second. Okay, I'm back, and I came into a problem. I don't want this video to be like 2 hours long, so this is gonna be part 1. That means I'm going to end the video now. This is part 1. Part 1. The mix between my amazing reacting ability, Quill Scroll's amazing writing ability, and my amazing ability to lengthen the video by like twice as much as it actually is. But never mind that. So this is gonna be part 1. Part 2 is gonna come out. I'm gonna call it Here I Am Film fiction read by Anthro Nerd, and that's what the title of the video is gonna be. And you know what? That's just it. Quill Scroll, thanks for recommending this to me, and thanks for wanting to see me read it. Redact. Yes, that's what it was. It was a redaction. Nice. Oh yeah, and if you're wondering why I didn't wear my headphones, it's because I didn't have to, because there's no audio. That's why I said I'm going to put like some background music in the background, so this sounds really cool. Hopefully I don't mess it up with my voice or whatever. So yeah, I'll definitely do part 2, and you know, I hope you had fun hearing me read this. And that's kind of actually a good place to end it, because you just realize Cozy Glow is just like sleeping next to... here's how I want to picture that ending of that went. Cozy Glow is sleeping next to Scorpan, and he's in a cell, and they're looking up at the stars in the sky, and even if that's not what it said, that's what I'm believing is happening. Looking up at the stars in the sky, and Cozy Glow's on her back like this, looking up, and she's just like, one day, we're all gonna get out of here. And on that day, we will truly be free. That'd be pretty cool. That'd be pretty cool. Even though she's really in it for herself, and she's only using Scorpan because he's big and strong. But you know what? That's what she felt like with Turek, so, you know. What are you gonna do? So, I mean, excellent read. I would definitely do the other half. I'm not gonna wait a whole week to do part 2. Probably, I said I'd post this on Wednesday, so I'd say maybe 2-3 days later. I'll, if I don't have to work, then I'll just, upload that, and boom, ready. And it'll be up and posted, and you can finally watch the ending of Here I Am. And, yeah. And if Twilight, ever were to get this, film fiction, or just, like, it gets dropped in the mail slot at the castle, and she reads it, and she'd be like, oh god. What have I done? And then I would look at her while reacting to the episode and be like, yes, Twilight, what have you done? You ruined it. You ruined the lives of so many. Well, not so many, a few, but still. You know, she was doing what she thought was right, even though, as we can see throughout the entire series, whatever she thinks is right is typically the wrong thing to do. Actually, you can't really blame Twilight for what happened, because it wasn't really Twilight who turned them to stone. You have to blame Celestia, Luna, and Discord. I don't even know why Discord really, joined in. It's weird, because they didn't even use the elements of harmony to do it. They just did it like that, like they could have all... Like, if you could have done that all along, then Discord is the god of chaos, but still. I mean... That ending, though. Not to the book, but to the show. I mean, what are you gonna do? But like Chrysalis said, we always come back. And we do. Even if they need a little assistance from a not-so-nice guy. So with that being said, as always, I'm Anthropomorphic Nerd, and I'll see you in the next video. So, bye.